What's going on, guys? My name is Rumble Skrash. In today's video, I'm gonna be doing another tier list video of the best units in PvP by Rumble. So if you haven't checked out the first tier list, this is how it ended. I called it the February unit tier list. So as it's been a month and I have changed some opinions about some units. There's been the release of some new units, and I have also decided to include inside the tier list like the some of the next units that are going to be coming out so that you can expect and see how they're going to fit in the meta and stuff. So I have decided that if every month I have some different opinions like that, or the meta has changed, the release of new units and stuff, I will be uploading other tier list videos of the units. So I'm going to be keeping this updated, but probably it's not gonna be every month that I upload this kind of video, but maybe yes, it depends on the month, I suppose. So yeah, without further ado, let's start. I first want to mention that of course I mentioned it in the beginning of the other video too. This is a unit tier list, so the fact that a lot of units are in tier 0 doesn't mean that if you put all of them together it's gonna be an amazing team. It's just like their usability inside the meta right now. So and how the ways that you can use it. So if a unit can be put in any of the teams and he's gonna make the that team really strong, then that's obviously a really good unit. If a unit has a very good use but inside only a niche per use, then it's not gonna be ranked as high. So yeah, keep that in mind. So and I have also one thing to say, which is I value a lot the cost of the units. So if a unit costs 20, even though it does like worse thing than a legend does, so even though a legend does something that this unit do better, the probably the unit that costs 20 is gonna be higher, because the fact that it costs 20 means that you're probably gonna be seeing that unit in a lot of teams, because right now I would say like the current meta is actually to have 7 8 units in a team. So, and that is only achievable by using this cost 30, cost 20 units instead of 5 legends. So, yes, that's one very important thing to keep in mind. So, but without further ado, let's start with tier list. So, first of all, I want to mention inside, I will be working it out. First, I will do the changes that I have decided to do inside the units that are already here, and then I will add the new units and some units that were already there, but I have decided to include them, and maybe some of them, it doesn't mean that they are low in the tier. It means that I have suddenly read what they did better, and I have seen what they could do. So first of all, if you have checked out my video about Luffy Sanji, this is not gonna be a surprise. Luffy Sanji not tier 0, so I'm gonna be dropping Luffy Sanji a little bit, and probably I'm gonna be putting him lower, so higher than Kung Fu Luffy and lower than Legend Whitebeard. So Luffy Sanji, I explained it in my video. You can go check it out here on top. But yeah, Luffy Sanji have a very useful use, but very niche. I mean, they are kind of solid unit, but inside the current meta, it's not really that awesome. And in the future meta, definitely not, because the future meta is gonna be type meta, and they are a dual unit. So yeah, I'm not really a bright future for Luffy Sanji. They are, I still want to put them in tier 1, because right now, I mean, they're not that bad, but probably in the future they will drop even more. Another thing I want to mention is I have decided to drop a little bit Calgar and Nolan, because yes, they are PvP limited rare recruit, very good, but the fact what, so you can use them for their use in a lot of things, but if you just want to use them to basically be able to fill 8 spots in your team in the bench, you want actually like nukes that can target a lot of units. And Calgar and Nolan only target one, so they are really good, but for that use, they're not the best units, and I would rather prefer to use, for example, a Sanji instead of them and stuff like that. But it's true that they can be used inside side teams, slasher teams, and stuff like that. So pretty useful, but not as tier 0 as I would have expected them to be. Now, another decision I have decided to make is actually bump Kizaru up in tier 0, not only for the slasher use and the side use also. The shooter is quite interesting, very amazing unit, giving a lot of attack, a lot of damage actually, because he has a low cooldown, a lot of speed and specialty up. So really nice unit. I have decided to include him and probably be higher than Katakuri. I will put him here. I have also decided to promote Changshu because when I was talking about Changshuan was saying, yeah, he's useless in the first 30 seconds. I mean, it's true, but I wasn't taking into consideration that he has a very low cooldown, and his cooldown, he can actually activate a defense above level 4 before these 30 seconds have passed. So he can actually be really helpful if you use them correctly. For example, in a slasher team, he's very strong because he can actually, with the level of special city up that the slashers have, you can actually get the special of Shanks crew in second 80 or stuff like that. So that's quite useful to have. Also, the health cut is helpful. So yeah, I have decided to drop Otama down for the same reason than Calgaran Nolan, I would say. So I will probably leave her like this. I mean, she has a like a very useful use, giving free spirit city up and stuff like that. And free spirits right now are quite good because Roger, Ode, and Odin are free spirit. The same for Rayleigh and stuff like that. So, and she also gives to fighters and PB Whitebeard's fighter, categories fighter, these units. So, a lot of actually good units work well with Otama, also Luffy Sanji. So, I mean, still very good, but I think she should drop a little bit. Now, I have decided to drop a little bit, like still in tier 1, but I would probably say Stronghold is not that high because he has very low defense stat, and it's actually hard, apart from Otama, to give him special city up. I mean, you can use also Kizaru, but you want his special to activate, and sometimes it's difficult to make him survive so that he can activate. So yes, I have decided to drop him down a little bit, but well, he still has the use of a nuke coming in from the bench, targets all enemies. So if he comes in max from the bench, really nice. So still tier 1 definitely. I have also decided to bump and put a Halloween Law in the top of tier 1. Really amazing unit. He can actually change the whole speed tuning of the enemy team. So if the enemy team wants to activate the defensive buffs, for example, to survive your specials, but it's special binded because of law, he cannot actually activate the defense buff, and then you can kill him. The same goes for being able to avoid the enemy units to activate a lot of damage and stuff. So really useful. Also, his slasher, he's int, and he gives a lot of damage. I mean, not as much as Odin, but he does a lot of damage. And the defense down level 1 is quite nice too. So very useful units. I still don't have him, but so I haven't been able to test it. But I have seen him perform in championship. It's true that the int had like the buffs, but he was performing really well still. So yeah. Now I have decided to drop a little bit Kung Fu Luffy now because with the release of Luffy Sanji, uh, I would say normally Kung Luffy Sanji are better than Kung Fu Luffy except from some uses. So yeah, he drops a little bit because of that. I have actually decided to put Kaku in tier 0. I will probably do it like this, not only because he's Lusher, also because he's a nuke from the bench, really good. And what you want with the units in the bench in an 8-man team is to be like really huge bombs that can activate at the end of the match and do wave clears of damage. So yeah, Kaku is really good for that. The same goes for PvP Whitebeard. So yeah, where if you have an 8-man team, probably you want PvP Whitebeard and Kaku there. So yeah, definitely an amazing unit. So I think I should put him higher. Also, I have decided that Carrot is definitely close to being dropped down from tier 1, I would say. I don't really like Carrot, maybe it's a little bit biased, but I mean, yes, the speed is nice. She has really high cooldown and really low defense stat, making her special almost impossible to activate with the current meta. Maybe it's still even to say a lot to put her in tier 1, but well, a lot of people like Carrot, so I will keep her in tier 1, but I don't really like this unit. Um, so yeah, for the moment she stays here, but keep in mind that Kung Fu Luffy is also a rainbow speed buff, and I like Kung Fu Luffy better than Carrot actually. So yeah. Then I have decided to put the Kuzan a little bit like this probably. So yeah, the Kuzan is really good, and in the future he's gonna be amazing with the Sai meta and stuff in JP with a quick meta and quick and Sai. So yeah, really interesting unit. For the moment, I still like him a lot, but for the moment he doesn't really have that high of a use right now. But in the future he's gonna be bumped up a lot. So I think that's it for the tier 1 units. Probably yes, I'm gonna be leaving it like that. So the tier 1 and tier 0 units are gonna stay like that, and we're gonna start to probably talk about the units that are here in tier 2. So Halloween Shanks, I think he's also very good. The same reason for Halloween Law. He should be definitely top of tier 2. I don't think he's tier 1 because yeah, I mean, the action, I think the special bind is better than the action bind because obviously it's not guaranteed the action bind. Both Roger and Odin avoid action bind. And yeah, I mean, 5 seconds, it's just like, okay. But the 8 seconds of special bind can actually force a unit to not activate until 12 seconds later. So yeah, really, I think that's really good. But and he still does a lot of damage, so that's why he can be used in a slasher team, in a unit team, but not the first idea to go for. So yeah, now next up I wanted to talk about this PvP Sanji. I think PvP Sanji should actually uh, be bumped up, and actually I will put the Stasi lower than Sanji because Sanji has that use of coming in from the bench if you don't have the Kaku. So yeah, Sanji has this use. So I underrated him a little bit because I use him a lot because I don't have Kaku. So yeah. Then I actually want to talk about Jack. Jack is an amazing unit for rainbow teams, well, and also fighter and strikers teams and stuff like that. He's definitely bumped up to tier 1. He's very similar actually than Rayleigh because yeah, it's true that Rayleigh does in general higher defensive buffs. But the thing is that Rayleigh with the actual meta never actually gets to activate the special. I mean, unless you have a very tanky team. Normally, you will not see the special of Rayleigh because if he does activate, he will activate when the timer is at 40 seconds and stuff like that, and that's not very common with slasher teams and stuff like that. So for the use that you want Rayleigh, which is basically the passive and the defensive buff from the passive, it's defense up level 5 and HP up level 5. And Jack is giving HP up level 5, defense up level 1 with a passive, but his really low cooldown of special will probably make him activate before 30 seconds have passed. So you can actually get an extra defense up level 3. So you have a defense up level 4 and HP up level 5. So very similar that the use that Rayleigh actually sees. So I think it should not be disregarded. And also the health cut can be actually really useful because normally Jack, most of the times he actually activates the health cut before 30 seconds have passed, so he activates the 2 health cut. So really good unit that I had looked over. But as you saw in my video about Luffy Sanji, I actually built a really good defense team with these guys. So yeah, I have actually maxed him. So yeah, really good unit. Next we have Ivankov. I wanted to put him actually in the top of tier 2, so higher than the Shanks. Sorry. Yeah, because he's really good. The defense above to three colors level three, it's amazing. Also, very, I mean, mostly for defenses. So, and in the future, he's gonna be amazing for quick teams. So he's gonna be definitely in tier one in the future. But for the moment, he's still an amazing unit. A lot of attack down. He can help you tank a lot of stuff also because he's giving you defense. So yeah, really great unit. And then I will put B2 B1 Akainu, sorry, a little bit higher in the tier 2. Let me decide where. I think somewhere like this, because if he comes in from the bench at the late game, he's amazing. And the thing is that as we currently have a lot of cost 20 units that are really good, a lot of the times you can actually have a legend in the bench, and if you can, then you definitely, it's not a bad idea to have an invested B1 Kainu there, because a lot of fixed damage, ignoring all defense stats and stuff like that, that's a lot of damage. So yeah. Then I wanted to also change Kit. Kit is gonna be really amazing in the future in dex teams and stuff like that. Right now, still not very good. I mean, as a unit, he's good, but he doesn't really have the units to work with. But in the future, he's gonna be better. So I have decided to start bumping him up a bit, but for the moment, he will stay still in tier 2. Then I have actually decided to put this rare recruit in Warashi higher than the legend in Warashi, because if you look at their kit, it's more useful to have the rare recruit than the legend, because the rare recruit costs 30 and the legend 55. So I mean, really straightforward. Giving similar damage. I mean, obviously the legend gives higher damage, but this guy gives HP, gives defense and stuff like that. And this guy does nothing for your team apart from some speed to cerebral. So yeah. Then I also wanted to bump up the Bellamy. Bellamy, I think I'm gonna put him for the moment higher than all these units, and in tier 2. In the future, he's gonna be amazing, also with a quick meta that I talked about in my last video. If you want to check that video, by the way, go check it here on top. But yeah, he for the moment he will stay here. I will also want to change this Rayleigh. Uh, I will put him, for example, I think here, because his use inside the slasher team is quite good, I would say, and like mostly on defense teams. With all these lower ranked units, mostly I'm talking about defense teams and stuff like that, but they could see some use in an attacking team. Also, I wanted to put the Neko a little bit higher, and yeah, for the moment, I think that's all the changes that I'm gonna be doing. Right now, I'm gonna be talking now about some new units that there are, and some units that I have actually discovered that they are really good. So first of all, we have the two PvP limited rare recruits that are gonna be coming out in the probably this month, which are the Frankie and the Leo. So not really good units, let me say. I'm gonna put the Frankie higher probably than the Sanji. I'm also like these PP units of cost 20 are most likely gonna be tier 1 or tier 2 because of their cost 20 and their abilities, but these are probably not good units. Yeah, so lower than Sanji actually. I mean, Frankie is definitely better than Leo. I think Leo should actually not be in tier 1. So yeah, I mean it's kind of sad, but I think Leo should actually not be in tier 1, so I will leave him in tier 2 probably, something like that. Even like I don't really like this Leo. Yeah, there's no reason to put him like this. Yeah, and probably the Stasi will go close to the Leo, because also in the future with quick teams maybe she can see some use, but for the moment targeting only one unit with a high cooldown, yeah, I mean at least Colgar and Nolan target have a really lower cooldown. So yeah, then I wanted to talk about the new actually Kizuna unit that we're gonna be seeing, which after this Luffy Boa is max, the next Kizuna is gonna be these guys. And these guys are slasher and they're actually amazing. They're actually quite good. So for the moment, I have decided to put them like higher, for example, than this Big Mom, probably than Cracker even. But well, we're gonna be have to be seeing how these guys perform. But for what I have seen, these guys are actually quite good for a slasher team. It's a shame that in the next 4 months, slashers are not gonna be that amazing. So when we have the unit maxed, probably their use is gonna be lower. But for the moment, I'm gonna leave them here. So now we have probably these will come in not this month but in the next one, or maybe if we are lucky this month. So I'm not really sure when this solo mask is gonna be coming out. It's a PvP limited rare recruit and this guy is absolutely amazing. So he definitely goes to tier 0. Wait, let me put him. So he definitely goes to tier 0, higher than Kaku, definitely. And I think he should even be higher than these units and in the future probably even than Odin. So really, really amazing unit, the Solo Mask. One of the best nukes to have in the last spot of in the bench. A lot of damage that this guy can actually deal. So he's gonna be basically a bomb coming in from the bench. If you look at all the JP teams, all the top tier teams have actually this guy in the bench. It's actually kind of crazy. So really, really amazing unit. Next up, we have this Golden Pound Usop, actually free to play. Well, I don't know if it's free to play. I'm pretty sure he is, if you're a beginner. So actually read what he does. It's actually quite interesting to see what this unit does, and I had looked over him, so I have decided to include him in the tier list. It's true that it's difficult for him to get him with a lot of stats because it's actually a non-evolved one, but I think Golden Ball Usopp is better than his evolution Sogeking. So read what he does, but he can actually, if used correctly in a defense team, he can actually be a pretty good bait. So I have decided to put him at the lower part of tier 2. Next we have this Doflamingo, which has actually a better use than this Rayleigh. So probably, well, I will actually put him here. So even higher than Golden Pound Usopp because he actually has limit break, so he can have higher stats. Actually quite good, very similar than this Rayleigh, but I think he's a little bit better. Now we have this Duval, which, well, it's interesting, but I mean, I wanted to mention to include him and say that he does something. He works for kind of a probably Dex team or maybe shooter team. I mean, it's not amazing, but in the defense, it's actually can be nice. Here we have now the B1 Kuzan that I actually forgot in the last tier list. It's not that I didn't think he was good. I actually forgot about him, but I will put him lower than the B3 Kuzan because I'm including the B3 Kuzan that in the next 2 months probably is gonna be getting the PvP buffs, and he's actually gonna be quite amazing. So it's a unit that you will probably want to have. So that's why I'm putting him kind of high now. He's gonna be higher in the future, but so that you can keep him in mind when you are considering what units you want to have or not. So uh, next up, we have this carrot, which is also cost 20. And if you read what she does, she's actually quite amazing. And in a defense team, she's actually better than this Doflamingo, I think. She does a very similar thing again than Doflamingo and this Rayleigh. But this actually unit has City 11 and will give 20% cooldown reduction to all your slashers. So inside the slasher team, you can actually make your units activate before their slasher units. So can actually be very, very useful. We have Legend Nami because, I mean, basically because in the future, Dex teams are going to be more relevant. So maybe you would want to use her inside a Dex team or stuff like that. I think it's even kind of generous to put her in tier 2, but well, I mean, now we have this rare recruit Stampede Frankie, which I actually forgot about him in the last tier list. He's actually quite good inside a Dex team. I would put him here probably. I think this carrot is actually better than all of these, and the same goes for this actually. I think it should be something like this. This card is actually quite interesting to see what she can do, because even if she has lower stats, her cooldown is so low that probably she will activate the first 15 seconds and that's it. You don't need her anymore. So yeah, really interesting unit. And now we have some of the new units that we have had this anniversary. So we have this Nami. If you read what she does, she actually is quite amazing. She's I think a rainbow HP buff, a lot of guaranteed fixed damage to all enemies, and also will give give you some other buffs with the passive. So kind of rainbow unit, and quite good actually. So I think she should be probably even higher than these guys actually. And now we have this rare recruit Capone, which is I think close to Nami. I think Nami is a little bit better, but Capone really interesting too. Rainbow defense above level 2, so really nice to see. And this we have now the Sweet Commanders. The Sweet Commanders are not that great right now because you need them for a strength team, and strength teams are not that great. But as for example, dex teams are not great either. But Kita is here. I will probably leave them here for the moment. In the future, when we have a lot of new strength units, probably the sweet commanders are gonna be better. And the thing is that Oden is actually strength. You have this Kaku, you have even a Jack, a guy like this. So kind of interesting units. So I mean, I don't think they should be looked over. And now we have this Usop actually. So this Usop is actually quite amazing, and I think he actually deserves tier 1. So I will put him actually higher than probably Konis, and yeah, I think like this, maybe he should be higher than Stronghold Days because he's also a shooter and free spirit buffer. He does the same with the passive, and the special does not obviously as much damage, but it's actually quite amazing because he's not a legend. So very strong unit, mostly in defense teams. I think this championship, if a lot of people have invested in him, you will be seeing some of these units and some teams with this guy. So definitely look forward to it. And now, lastly, we have this Kaido versus Big Mom that probably will come by the end of this month. Now, they are not that great in PvP. I wouldn't really recommend pulling on that banner, but the Kaido version definitely not really that useful. But the Big Mom version is actually a pretty good nuke to have coming in from the bench in the last 30 seconds. So if you can use her, she's gonna be great. In the future, B3 Zoro is gonna be much better than her, but I mean, she can be good. So for this nuke use, I will put her together close to Sanji. I mean, lower because Sanji only costs 20 and Big Mom and Kaido only cost 55. So yeah, I will leave her here, but I don't really recommend PvP wise to pull in their banner. But I mean, in the normal game, they're one of the best legends. But yeah, I do not recommend pulling in that banner. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this tier list. If you disagree with some units, with the positioning in some units, obviously the positioning inside tiers can change. Mostly, for example, in tier 2, that there is a lot of units there. But definitely let me know if you strongly disagree with some units, if you think some units should be here and it isn't. With every upload that I do of this tier list, probably every month, I'm gonna be changing things around and stuff like that, and probably maybe even adding some units because there's a lot of interesting units that I cannot really talk about in all of these videos because the video is getting too long and stuff. But from time to time, I'm gonna be adding some units so that we can have a wider picture of all the units that we have right now in global. So yeah. But without further ado, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.